Alright, we as a class are going to be using that marker. We're going to use this one. Okay. As a class, we're going to be writing first person narrative. Is anybody able to tell me what this is? Julie?
It's a story. It's all from the first person point of view.
Good. Narrative indicates that this is a story, and first person is kind of in and of itself. What does it mean to write in first person?
You're making an undivided statement.
Yes. You have one perspective from one character. So you will have a lot of words like I, me, my, mine, or even we and our, because that'll include the I. The I is connected. So this is what it means to be a first-person narrative. There are other parts, a little bit, that go with this. There are three things, three main ideas you want to keep in mind when doing first-person narratives. One is the idea that it is first person. So again, this is just the I, the me, the my. I went to the store, I feel sad, not the character Tommy ran down the street. It's personal to you, it's yourself. Two, it's a story. These are both told in our thing, but story goes further. It means you're going to need a plot, you're going to need characters, setting, climax, closure, etc. All the ideas that go with a story. And third is the details. Part of what makes a first-person narrative effective is the details. This goes more to say sensory details, imagery details. You want your reader to feel as the character does. You want to express a feeling through your story, and that expression will come out more vividly and more clearly to your reader through your details. So, a great example of first-person narratives are in magazines. I'm sure everybody reads some kind of magazine, whether you're just sitting in the doctor's office or the dentist's office, etc. So here are examples that I pulled out of magazines, and I guess that's where that's going to go. Okay, is this clear enough to you guys? Okay. So this says, flanked by my Duke buddies, bubbly, I don't even know, that's a drink, in hand, I was lounging on a terraced chase under a sublime Carolina blue sky. And then I felt it, the flush. First, little trickles of warmth streaming across my cheeks, and suddenly a full crimson tide crashing over my face, staining everything in its wake ruby red. I was powerless to stop it. The sun and the booze were delicious provocateurs of my newly diagnosed skin disease, rosacea, and everyone at the reunion, including the pool boys sipping cool brew who I used to party with 15 years ago, could see it. I never felt the need to hide my face back when I was a blue devil. I had gorgeous skin, or more accurately, normal skin, the kind you abuse, for time's sake. But a few years ago, I noticed my dermis taking on a high color of an endurance athlete post-workout. My former dermatologist, blew me off. I was being vain, said the crunchy doc, and simply needed to accept this ruddy face as my own. But as time passed, the cherry crush burned brighter, and then a few months before my college reunion, I noticed that a smattering of bumps joined the party on my cheeks. When my new derm diagnosed rosacea, I was relieved. Ha, I thought. I knew I didn't have to accept being red in the face. But he broke the bad news. There's no cure for this widespread, poorly understood, underdiagnosed condition that more than 14 million Americans have. Okay, so this is a first-person narrative that I pulled out of a magazine, and it's not the entire story, it's an excerpt. But if we look at it, and we look for point 1 of a first-person narrative, which is indeed being in first person, we see that although there are other typical, could-be characters, such as her Duke buddies or her dermatologist, the story is told in I through the whole paper. I was powerless. I never felt the need. I noticed. So it works as a first-person narrative because it is in first person. If we move on to the second point, which is story, it tells a story. It's not complete, like I said, because it's an excerpt, but you see first, she noticed the bumps. Second, she went to the dermatologist. And part of the climax would be there is no cure. So what is she, finding that out? What is she going to do now? So we see it's a story. Third, and what I feel is most important when trying to have an effective first-person narrative, is the details. Here we can see she wants us to feel like she felt. And she says she felt the fleshness, little trickles of warmth streaming across her cheeks. And then suddenly there's a crimson tide crashing over her face. Can you feel that? Can you sense that? She's appealing to the reader's senses. Everybody understands what warmth is. Everybody's been out in the sun and felt warmth. And she's using that to kind of show a different expression of how the redness kind of took over her cheeks. Anybody want to add anything that they saw that they thought they would fit one of our 3 points of first-person narrative? Well, if you don't now, you're going to in a minute. Because here, okay, we'll use this one because I like this one. Here is another first-person narrative pulled from a magazine. Can I have a volunteer to read it? It's nice and short. Go ahead, Julie.
I dragged myself up a steep hill to the sound of an approaching tractor. I moved to the right, I moved to the right as the huge blue thing rose aggressively into the left lane. The roof of wide front tires, back tires of giant treads hauling downward. Teenager sat at the wheel with his shirt off and a trance-like expression on his face, like he'd just been made to eat vegetables. The tractor rolled over the crest without slowing and was immediately followed by a multi-bladed contraption that stretched all the way into my lane. A wheel thing that could probably double as a cultivator of some sort when it wasn't being used to mow down runners. I spun into the shoulder as it passed, then stood panting and feeling like I just dodged it. Well, like I dodged a multi-bladed wheel thingy.
Alright, so what's our first point? We're talking about first-person narratives. Being in first person. Where do we see that in this story? Right off the bat, at the very beginning. There's other characters, there's other objects, like the teenager, but do we see how the teenager felt? Are we told about him? No. Our perspective is from the I, making it first person. And so we see how our character feels and how they feel, which is redundant, but whatever. Okay, what is our second point for first person narrative?
Make sure it's a story, it has a plot climax on it.
It has a storyline. Do we see a storyline?
Yep.
What's our story?
They see the tractor, they think about the tractor, and then they try to avoid the tractor.
He's running, the tractor comes at him, he has to dodge the tractor. Good, there's our story. And third, what's our third point? Details. Where are the details in our story? What is our